Crimson Anisha Global Schools, Crimson Anisha Global Schools in Pune, the Crimson World School in Varanasi, the Confluence World School in Rudrapur, the JGI, the Jain Group of Institutions and Schools, the St. Andrews Group of Institutions, and the Jain International Residential School. Once again, a big thank you to the principals and to the entire senior leadership team for ensuring that our students can avail and take advantage of this unique opportunity of Crimson Masterclass. So without much ado, let me introduce our masterclass speaker for this evening, Srimati Radha Goenka. Srimati Radha is the founder of Pehlay Akshar Foundation and also the director of RPG Foundation. Radha is a philanthropist, a mother, and a passionate writer. Her work focuses on empowering children, youth, and women through educational and vocational training to help them find meaningful employment. She joined the social sector. Her journey began in 2008, and since the past 14 years, has worked through two organizations, the Pehlay Akshar Foundation that she's founded and the RPG Foundation. She leads these initiatives under the three core pillars of education, employment, and heritage. She founded Pehlay Akshar fueled by her deep conviction and desire that the core idea to raise children who can question things with curiosity. The foundation encourages experiential learning by creating safe spaces and grounding in functional English to bring about a significant difference in how students learn and how teachers teach in government schools. Thank you, Ms. Radha Goenka, for making time from your busy schedule and joining us this evening.
Good evening to all the children, teachers, parents here. Thank you, Sen, for a lovely introduction.
Thank you. So before we begin, we have a short video which will set the context and also show some of the amazing, inspiring work that Srimati Radha has been doing.
The most important contribution was from all these teachers of the Mumbai Municipal School teacher training program. Current teachers are the biggest medium of nation building.
So that really set up the context. Just give me a second, please. Sorry, so that really set up the context in terms of, all the amazing things and the amazing work Srimati Radha Goenka, the Pehlay Akshar and the RPG Foundation have been doing. So now I'd like to request Srimati Radha Goenka to talk a little bit about her journey. She started way back in 2008. What was, what really inspired her and the kind of work that she's been doing? Srimati Radha, over to you.
So I think my journey really was something that was more passion driven. And, I hope all of you in your life also pursue passions, because that's what leads to success. I must say that whatever I do, I love doing it. And, that's how I thought about what I wanted to do. So when I started off, I was 22 years old. And, I had the luck or privilege of having good education. And I had been through a good school and a good college. And, when I'd see people around me, I used to always feel that it's a luck of draw that I had access to education. I don't think I'm smarter than anyone else, on the road that I see, but the difference is that I had good education and somebody else didn't. So I decided that I'm going to try and change that. So it was a cause that connected with me. I started off in Bombay. There is an area called Worli, and I remember going and seeing there's a community called the Adarsh Nagar community, and I went, just walking around there, and happened to walk into a school. So I walked into the school and I see these really bright children, full of life, full of questions, that I, requested. I spent some time with the teachers and the principal in the school, understanding what their problems were, spent some time with the children there. And I realized, like all of you on this call, the children were so bright and so eager to learn. I remember asking, children just in general, what do you want to do with your life? And a girl put up her hand and said, I want to read the news on television. So I was very impressed with, the kind of hope and aspiration and clear thought she had, even as a 7th standard child, which I didn't have. I know when I was in the 7th. So, I thought that this is something we must do, as in we must try and make these dreams come alive. And so that's when my journey started, where I decided I want to be in the education space. I spoke to the school and the principal, and that time they told me that the biggest problem they had is that all the children wanted to learn English, and there weren't enough English teachers, and a lot of children were leaving government schools or smaller schools to move to schools where they thought they would learn English. So learning English was a big need at that point. And I do think English is something that is very important in general, because it connects you to the world. Now with the internet, 90% of the content on the internet is in English. And with the internet, I'm sure all of you know, you can, right now we're able to talk to each other across cities, across towns. So much is possible through the internet. You can learn anything you want. You can learn, if you want to learn how to, be a data analyst, you can do a course for free on the internet and learn. So any skill that you want, you can learn, but it's in English most likely, because 90% of everything on the internet is in English. So clearly there was a huge opportunity with children learning English. So that's where I started off. I started with Pehlay Akshar as an English program where we were teaching English. As we went deeper, we realized that it's not only about English, but also how you learn. So if any of you have small children, or not children really, but brothers, sisters, or have people in your community who are little, 2-3-year-old, little children around you, you'll see that little children are very curious. If a 2-year-old child is put in a room, he wants to fidget with everything. He wants to move the chair, he'll touch, switch on the switches, he'll want to move the books, his pens, he wants to explore his world. So children are born curious. All of us were born curious. So we want to learn. We have hundreds of questions in our mind. We want to know why does this make noise when it moves? But when we go to school, where you're supposed to get as many answers as you want, and you're supposed to get all those answers, all those questions answered in school, we don't like school. If you all want to do a show of hands to tell me how many people love school, can you all put up your hand? Okay, great. I see lots of hands up. So which is a very good sign to show. I definitely, when I was in school, if somebody asked me, I would, maybe in front of my teachers, I would put up my hand because I want them to think I love school. But in reality, I would not say I love school. At least when I go home, I would not tell my parents. If there was a holiday, I would shout, yay, holiday. So, you all are very good children if you all love school. But when I was small, at least I didn't like school so much. So there was this thing that, okay, if children love learning and schools are meant to teach us stuff, then why do we not like school? So it's not only about what we learn, but how we learn. So why can't we create a schooling, or a school where we're all having fun in school and we're learning and we're all very excited to go to school, and school is all fun and games, but we're learning at the same time. So that's what we try to do with Pehlay Akshar. We've created this thinking process, which we call a safe space, where we create happy classrooms, and children should come and have fun in school, but still learn. And not only children, why should children have all the fun? Even the teachers should have fun. So we make sure that we teach the teachers that if you come to school to teach, you should have fun too. The teachers also should play games, should enjoy coming to school. So we do that kind of work with Pehlay Akshar. That's one thing that we do. And then one thing led to the other, and then I moved on to doing many, many different things based on passion. My big thing that drives me is that there is a need. So the second thing that I do is we train people to join various jobs. I think you all saw this whole Swayam thing that we do. We train lots of people to become, currently with COVID, to become bedside assistants. So they're kind of like nurses, because there's a huge demand, for people to help in the healthcare system. So we do based on needs. So the work that we do is, if there is a need in the community, we started with needs. When it came to English, we moved to creating fun classrooms. We are now, creating jobs, teaching people skills, and then we do fun stuff with heritage. Do you all have heritage sites around you? Have you all visited heritage sites? I can see the hands which are from earlier, but yeah, I see some nods. So yeah, so there are heritage sites that, so we believe in actually making heritage sites fun and make them more interactive, because people think of heritage and history as boring. And really it's not. Actually, they're stories. It's all about, somebody who lived many years ago in this place and had a vision, had some thoughts, built something. Why did they build over it? And then what happened after that? How there was a fight over it and some other ruler came. So it's about taking out the stories. If I have to tell you about every heritage site in India through a story, I think you would enjoy history. So the idea is really to take out the stories of our ancestors and bring them to people. So through our app, through children's books, through lots of events. So yeah, I think I've spoken enough. Hussain, back over to you.
Thanks, Radha. And it's really nice, and I think for students, so Radha actually did her business communication degree from University of Pennsylvania, which is, as we call it, the 8 Ivy League. It's one of the most premier universities in the world. And after doing that, joining the social sector and the kind of passion that she has, I think that's, I think the biggest takeaway for all of us in terms of, how can we come back and really do something good for the society, the communities in which we stay. So Radha, you spoke a little bit about, the kind of needs which have emerged from the pandemic. We had one of our students, Naina, and another student, some students shared with us some questions at the beginning of the session. So one was, given, everything that we've seen, learning gaps which have arisen, there has also been the technology divide where, children in the government schools or the affordable schools have not had access to devices. What is going to be the focus of Pehlay Akshar going forward, now that schools are reopening and kids are coming back to school?
So I think there are many. This is a long answer, which has many levels of thoughts. So what is an ideal situation? Ideal situation is that we can have a hybrid learning environment, because what you can do face to face, you cannot do online. I see one physical school here, Jain Public School, Renibinol, which is
Right.
all present there. So definitely there is an energy of a classroom, of you being around people. We could be hundreds of people on this call, but we're sitting alone and in a silo, which the experience of that is obviously very different of all of us congregating in one space. So there is to say that hybrid is the future, where there is advantage of physical, but there is a lot of advantage with digital also. The fact that this call across cities at one dedicated time is possible is clear example to show. So what should the future look like? Definitely, I feel that in an ideal situation, we should be working very heavily on developing hybrid education as a way forward. And maybe this COVID time when we look at this whole situation 20 years later, we will see it was a good thing, because that pause at this time made us actually forcefully start thinking about hybrid. Had it not, we would have continued with our old ways for so much longer. That this was a time where, as a human race, we are forced to pause and say, we have to now think about there might be another way, there might be something else. And also we realize the advantage of digital. So in an ideal situation, we should be moving to a hybrid education where we are able to take some advantages. Today, if you can learn Spanish from a teacher from Spain, why not? Why not have the best teacher Spanish, which I'm sure is possible. So these are things that can be made a reality. That is the ideal situation. What is really possible to make digital a reality for 1 billion people? It's a huge infrastructure cost, and how our government thinks about it, they will lead the way forward. I know that our current government has announced 12 television channels for education, which itself is a good move. We did, we were forced as Pehlay Akshar to move our classroom to Doordarshan. We shot a magic classroom, as we call our English classroom, and put it on television. And it was very highly reviewed, and it was a success. A lot of children watched it. So I do see that we will move into a hybrid model where we are taking advantage of the television, digital as much as we can, put in infrastructure costs, and can do it. And it's not only about devices, it's about access to electricity and internet. If we can solve for that, devices is a less, people think of digital infrastructure and state think of devices. To me, devices is the second thought. First thought is connected electricity and access to internet in all parts of India. And then we can bridge the divide for digital devices.
Thanks, Radha. So I just thought, I'll just spotlight the Jain Public School, Ranebenur. So as you see, these kids, and I think that's the amazing part of technology. Yes, hi kids, really nice to see you. Hopefully next time we can do all of this in person. A big shout out to Sandeep and the entire school team, to bring all the students in one place, for this kind of talk, because I think it's so important for kids to hear, what social entrepreneurs and the kind of impact, Radha, you're doing. So Radha, another aspect is, and this is a question which came out from a lot of kids, is as students, how could they get involved with Pehlay Akshar? Or are there any volunteering opportunities that, your organization provides?
So our program is very focused on Bombay city right now, but we are expanding into Maharashtra state. So if any of these schools or people are from the Maharashtra state, I'm very happy to you all can email us and we can find more active ways for you to participate as we grow. On a digital front, we launched, when COVID hit, we launched a project called A Story a Day, which is a very simple project. You can read any of your favorite stories and upload it. So it's as simple as taking your phone and recording you reading a story, and then we edit it, as in the Pehlay Akshar team will put your face on one side and put the actual pictures of the book on the other side. So and then that is shown, it's on YouTube and children can actually watch it. It's a great initiative. We have 700 or 800 plus stories already for volunteers who shot it. So I would really encourage that. We've also had some very famous people who have shot for us, like Sonakshi Sinha, some cricketers like Ajinkya Rahane. So please go online and check out A Story a Day. And if each one of you on this call can read, we've had lots of children who are under 7, 6, 8. My children who are 8 and 11 have read stories also. So, it's very simple. If you can read a story in English, I would really recommend you read one story. And we are now trying to put these stories on radio if possible, so that there can be a very wide reach of people who can listen to these stories. So that's a simple thing which I think everyone on this call can immediately after this engage in it.
That's great, actually. And I think radio is such a powerful medium. Sadly, we've not really leveraged the power of radio, as much as we've done with television. So it's really great. So kids, all of you, I think it's a great opportunity to really get involved, contribute, and do something meaningful in your small little way. Sometimes we think that, to create an impact, we need to do larger things. But I think with everything that Radha has spoken about, you can really create real impact to even the little things, because it's the little things which will actually make something really big and impactful. So students, I read out some questions that some of you all had shared. At this point in time, the chat is also open. If any of you would like to ask any questions to Srimati Radha Goenka, please post those in your chat. I see some of you all have raised your hands. I would request you to just post your questions or whatever you'd like to ask her, interact with her, post it in the chat, and then she will pick up some questions from there.
So do you want to, Hussain, just pick out questions and read them out? And then
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
So I think one is Akshay has asked, what really inspired you to start Pehlay Akshar?
I think I did go through that story, but really it was the fact that there was children who needed it and wanted it. And like I said, I saw a lot of enthusiasm for, I told you about that one girl who put up her hand and said that I want to become a newsreader, which really inspired me to see this kind of dedication and passion. And I said, I have the ability to give her that as an opportunity. So I should get into this.
Great. And another question is, without practical experiments in labs or classrooms in government schools, is it possible for students to have a better understanding of their subjects? So I think the question, I think Aaron had shared this earlier as well, is about experiential learning. So even, if we do not have the kind of physical spaces, you mentioned about safe spaces. I think probably that's the, connotation, or that's the kind of the, question he's seeking to ask you.
No, it's a very good question. And I get this a lot from my team because, I get to hear a lot of this that, sometimes you go into school and there's not even a blackboard and the children don't even have chairs to sit on. But you know what? I say that it does not matter. Infrastructure is not the important thing. You could have the best school with the best chairs and the best devices. But if your teacher is not fun, who's not teaching you well, what will you learn? Nothing. But if your teacher is very good and teaching you things in a fun and interactive way, if you could be sitting without a classroom, you could be sitting in a garden and learning something. So to me, not that for a science experiment you don't need. Yes, you do need for a science experiment particularly. But increasingly, I think we need very little to learn in terms of physical, tangible things. You need a bright mind, a good teacher who can teach you well, and a receiving mind. As a student, you need to be a mind who's wanting to learn, who's asking the right questions. Like I said, if you have a 2-year-old child in the room, the child will be relentless. He will keep asking you again and again, why is this making a noise? Why is this making a noise? Still, you will say, please keep quiet, but he will not give up. So both sides, you have to be relentless in your pursuit. And as a teacher, you need to be somebody who is giving good information the right way, and infrastructure is not relevant.
So there's another question by Daksh. Ma'am, what do you teach in Magic Classroom, and how did you come up with this name? I think the question is more in terms of, and why is it called Magic Classroom?
So you have to go to YouTube and watch one of our classrooms to know what is Magic Classroom. It's all there on YouTube. But really, the idea is just what I told you, that if I told you a nice story, if I went off on the story right now saying, once upon a time, thousands of years ago, there was this king and how he took over, a certain region and how he forced these people to become a certain religion, you would want to hear, okay, then what happened? Then what happened? So that's where magic happens, right? Where there is minds that are wrapped into a story where you're so engrossed that you are enjoying and learning, and it's no longer work, but you're enjoying yourself. So what we say is magic is because the children are enjoying themselves, they're loving being there, and so are the teachers. Teachers also must enjoy what they're doing for them to make the magic come alive. So if the teachers are enjoying teaching, if the children are enjoying learning, then you are actually making magic happen because you're having fun and yet you are learning. So that's like magic, right? Imagine if in life was fun.
Absolutely. So we have another question by Tanmay from class 7, that you must have gone through several obstacles, in this entire journey. What inspired you and how did you overcome them?
I think when you look at obstacles as obstacles, that's where the problem is. You have to see obstacles as opportunities. And in every single, like I just said, COVID itself, people think of it as, oh God, my life got so ruined with COVID. And yes, it was difficult because some people lost loved ones and that was difficult. But in the larger sense, for humanity, it was not a bad thing that happened, right? Like I said, we got time to realize what's important. All of us were forced in to live with our family in close quarters. We were, realizing that a lot of what we spent our life doing was actually not as useful. So we realized what's important for education. We realized that hybrid is a really good thing. Digital has lots of power in it. There's so many good things that came out of COVID. Now you could view COVID as an obstacle, or you could view COVID as an opportunity for you to learn and grow. So every obstacle is actually opportunity. Even when it hits you, it's not, we're all human, not like something bad happened to me and I'm like, oh good, it happened. It's not that simple. It hurts everyone. So for a few minutes or a few days, you feel like, oh God, it's a bad thing that happened. But then you have to get up again, dust yourself and say, maybe there's something good in this and there's something to learn.
And that's true. Yes, Francis.
Hussein, I want to just ask, there are some children who have raised their hand. Let them just, I would just want to hear their voice.
Yeah. So we can ask Suyani,
Tarun, I'd seen Tarun and he just disappeared. Okay, Ganesha, you want to speak? Yeah, I can see Tarun. Tarun, I'm unmuting you. Yeah,
yes,
please.
sir.
Please, Tarun.
What should I speak?
You had raised your hand.
You had raised. So Tarun, you have any question or anything you'd like to ask? Or you just raised your hand earlier, I think, when ma'am had asked you to raise your hand.
Yeah, even I did a poll, some of them raised their hand.
Yes.
Okay, good. No problem. Okay.
Question, teacher. My question was, how can you help the schools in the future?
How can you help the schools in the future? So again, I would say it's a lot of what I just said, right? We create happy classrooms. How can I particularly help? It's too much to ask. I wish I could help all the schools in India, but I can definitely try. So what I'm doing currently is talking about the magic classroom and safe spaces and creating happy environments. And hopefully more and more people start following it and start doing it. Would you all not want your classrooms to be magic classrooms?
We want to.
Yeah.
So that's the attempt, to try and make the future classrooms all be magic classrooms.
So Tarun, you could be the Radha Goenka of your school, right?
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal. You don't need to be me. You need to be yourself, but become a proponent of magic classrooms.
Teacher. Thank you, teacher.
Believe in yourself, okay?
Thank you, teacher.
Suyani, you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, good evening to everyone present here. My name is Suyani. I'm from St. Andrew School. So my question was that how can students not only obtain the bookish and practical knowledge, but also imbibe moral values and ideals while reading, especially literature, and also through the experience they get in school?
Very good question. I would say that the values, you can learn skills your whole life. Tomorrow you can want to become a carpenter and you want to learn how a carpenter does his work. You can, go on the internet and figure it out, or find somebody who teaches you and you can learn. But your values are something which are with you your whole life, and you really need to think about that. Values is something that you build through what your parents teach you, through what as you go along life, you start realizing you sometimes make mistakes. Today, all of us as children have made mistakes, and you don't get frazzled by it, but you learn from it. Sometimes when a teacher or an older person shouts at you for something you've done wrong, you need to go back and think about, why did she tell me that? And, what can I learn from that? Because as children, if you create the right values, they stick with you for life. So values of honesty, values of hard work, values even of saying, being curious, like I said, even at 50, you can decide that I want to learn something new and start pursuing it, and not feeling ki, oh, now I've become a doctor, now I can't become a carpenter, now I've already learned all this. Doesn't matter. If you today decide that I want to do something different, you should have the ability to say, I'm confident I can learn it. That's your value system, that you're curious and your confidence in yourself.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I think I want to give an opportunity to Jain Public School, Radha Goenka.
Radha
All the
Goenka,
children sitting there. Sandeep, you want to get some children asking there?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What is the aim to do in future to help students?
Could you repeat, son?
Ma'am, what is your aim to do in future to help students?
Sorry, could you repeat that, one of you? I didn't hear what he said.
His question is, what is your aim to do in the future to help the students?
Yeah, well, I think it's about taking the magic classrooms to as many schools as I can. And also, it's about not saying it is only one thing, but it is also doing what is needed and keep changing. I don't believe in saying that this is what the future needs. If the future needs something different all the time. Like if you asked me this question 3 years ago, there was no COVID. COVID hit. So then I have to change what I'm saying is needed, right? So you need to keep working with what the needs are and keep doing stuff to add value so that children keep learning, teachers keep enjoying themselves. That's the goal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And we want to say hi to everyone there. Can you raise your hand? Come on. Okay, Hussein, please.
Can I ask one
Yes.
more question, sir?
Yeah, I think last question.
Yeah, sure.
Last
We can take the
question.
last question. Yes.
Ma'am, this is Sandeep Jain, student of Jain Public School, Ranebennur. How can we collaborate to benefit the students of Jain Public School, Ranebennur, ma'am? How can I collaborate with Pehlay Akshar? Is my question.
Sorry, who are you? Are you a student in the? I couldn't see you, and I don't have contact.
Yes, ma'am. I am a student, but still I am learning a lot of things.
Hmm.
I'll come in front of camera also.
He's the larger student. Yeah, he's a very tall student of one of our schools. So
Okay, okay. Well, so like I said, for now, I'm not sure if we have any presence in Ranebennur, but you can contribute with a story a day. But I hope someday we can do something there, and you all can all start actually becoming proponents of Magic Classroom. I would say in your own right.
I think Sandeep, also the story. I think children can start making their videos of stories and share it. If you go on the website, Radha, you want to share the website details?
Yes, we will share it right after. Maybe Arushi, do you want to put it on the chat group?
Yeah, please. 1 minute, I'll just, yeah.
Sure, sure.
So I think you can learn more about her work and try to see whether you can also, contribute similarly, because finally everyone has a role to play, right? So you all sitting there, all listening to us, you all are change makers, and you can actually bring that change, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And every little thing counts. So
Yeah.
every story that you will build will help and will reach more children. So please go and check out the website. I don't know if Arushi Ashish put it up.
Yeah, I've just put it up. I've put up the link with the volunteer, Pehlay Akshar.
That's the volunteer one. And there's a direct
Yes.
link to ASAD, which I'm guessing Arushi will put up. Arushi, we're waiting for you to do that.
Yes, it's being put up on the group. I'll also share. Yes.
It's put up?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
And what we'll do is we will also share it with all the principals, so they can in turn share it with all the students.
if you put on Google, you put a story a day and you write, say, Sonakshi Sinha or a Jinkya,
Yes.
take you to that link also.
Okay.
Great. Lovely.
So
to
great.
on
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of all the students, principals, administrators who've joined us this evening, I would like to thank Mrs. Radha Goenka for making time from her schedule and sharing this amazing insight, her entire journey, Pehlay Akshar, and also different ways in which all of us can participate. It's truly been inspirational, it's been engaging and riveting, and we definitely look forward to collaborating with you in the future as well. So students, with this, we end our masterclass. Our next masterclass is scheduled for 16th of March. And that's again a very interesting one, just like this one, where we have Siddharth Menon, who's the founder CEO of WazirX, which is India's largest cryptocurrency platform. So he'll be talking about and decoding cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. I'm sure all of you have heard a lot about it. There are a lot of questions in terms of how safe it is, etc. So he will be there to decode everything about crypto on 16th of March at 4 p.m. Further details will be shared with your school principals shortly. Thank you once again, Radha, for this session, and thank you to all the students for joining in. Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
to
Radha.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.